Between and beyond, and welcome to the Kitchen of Creativity for another very special episode of Hook Cooks, the improvised storytelling podcast guaranteed to feed a hunger you didn't know you had. Coming to you live tonight, I am Mitch, the Monster Chef.
My name is Tishva, and tonight I will play the role of Jack.
And I'm Connor, your larder critter. It's time to roll up our sleeves for another shift here in the Hook Cook kitchen. My fellow chefs will be presenting submissions based on a pre-prepared prompt from a guest listener, this time the Grill Warlock. Thank you very much, Grill Warlock. Together, we three will whip up a world, characters, and a story just for you before serving up a radio play segment that we call the Plate Up. Got a prompt of your very own? Send it through to cooksofhooks@gmail.com or reach out to us on the socials at @hook_cooks. Chefs, BFFs, let's get cooking. Jack, what is tonight's prompt?
Tonight's prompt coming at us from the Grill Warlock themselves. It is the juice.
The juice, that's right. Thanks, Grill.
The juice, how it drips and oozes forth.
My thoughts entirely.
Cold-pressed juice? Hot-pressed juice?
Yeah, no one ever talks about hot-pressed juice, and that's a real shame.
I think they call it tea.
The juice! Okay. A juicy submission. It cannot be argued here in the Hook Cook kitchen. Thank you, Grill Warlock, for flooding us with your juice.
Oh, dear.
Now, it is time, before we move on to the meat and potatoes submission, to look at your best before yesterdays. The first thoughts, the worst thoughts. Mitch, what is your best before yesterday?
Alrighty. Have you ever walked down the aisle of your local supermarket and been hit with option paralysis? Orange, apple, pineapple, mango, grape, cranberry. You're a busy person with a full and fulfilling life. You wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym before you got to get that work grind set. Once you clock off, of course, it's eat, sleep, rave, repeat. You don't have time to choose a flavor of juice. And why should you? From the creative minds behind Eternal Stew and the stuff inside the King's Cup at the end of a party, it's the juice. Every single fruit juice in one convenient off-brown liquid. Every vitamin, every flavor. You need fiber. This has all of it. Get the juice today.
Isn't this just breakfast juice? Isn't that it's just all the juices?
No. Breakfast juice is for cowards.
That's like 10, 20 of your juices stacked.
100
Yeah, it's so thick. It's more of a paste. Kind of got the consistency of pate.
Cool.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not juice, then.
That's a good juice.
The spread.
No, it is because it comes from fruit.
Juices.
Okay, well, moving on from that very healthy entry, Jack, what is your best before yesterday?
All right, here we go. I have a new secret menu McDonald's hack. Do you want to hear what it is?
Okay.
Yes. I'm
Okay.
keen.
This is what I do.
I'm so excited, yes.
Whenever I go to a Mickey D's and their soft serve machine is broken, which is really just whenever I go to a Mickey D's, I demand they give me the juice. Before they have an opportunity to tell me they don't know what that is, I jump the counter, put my mouth to the nozzle, and crank my dome full of sweet, unfrozen, creamy cow drippings until I'm inevitably wrestled to the ground and asked to leave my nephew's 4th birthday party.
So the juice is really what soft serve is in the past.
Yeah, but it's more the action. It's the thrill of the ride.
Right, of leaping the counter and latching on like a barracuda.
It's all part of it. It's all encapsulated in the juice.
Moving from the fast food to our lovingly prepared dishes here, I'd love to find out what your main submissions are for the evening, my gentlemen. Please, Jack, present to me your meat and potatoes.
Will do. Here we go. Welcome to the juice. What can I get you this morning? Have yourself a juicy, juicy day. Sam's hands move on autopilot. They're a well-oiled machine. Drilled, efficient, perfect. Customers slide past, smiling wide, politely ordering specials from the board. The glare of the morning sun obscures their faces, leaving little more than dark outlines of shadow, but Sam doesn't mind. These people are getting their juice. They're happy. Sam is making them happy. Have yourself a juicy, juicy day! Have yourself a juicy, juicy day! Have yourself a Sam's hand slips, and the knife bites into their thumb. They break their rhythm, glancing down as blood wells from the cut and drops onto the board, pooling and mixing with the rest of the gore assembled there. Sam stares at the pile of meat and bones in confusion. A moment before, they were trimming and cutting celery, and now they're in a dark room, their hand gripping a sharp metal cleaver. The friendly overtures of the clientele are gone, replaced by a deep, machine-like rumble from all sides. Sam steps back and almost trips on the tubes extending from their body, feeding into the gigantic blender that stands to the right of their station. Sam watches as a glowing mixture of meat, blood, and bone flows from the blender through the tubes that lead into their back, as well as other larger pipes that disappear into the sheer metal walls of their cage. They gag on the smell, almost overcome by the fetid stink of the place. Just as they open their mouth to scream, a light on the wall flashes red, and a feedback loop sounds in Sam's mind. They're overwhelmed, overcome by a single word bouncing around their skull. Juice, 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 juice. The horrors around Sam fade, replaced by the familiar, bright store, by friendly, polite customers, and a clean, neat chopping board. Sam turns and smiles. Welcome to the juice. What can I get you this morning? Have yourself a juicy, juicy day.
Hey, Jack, you doing all right over there? Okay.
Yeah, man. I'm doing great.
Let's park the podcast for a moment.
You want to have a little pause on the pod?
Hey, is this a cry for help?
Cry for help? No, this is like a little, another little dip into horror. I'm a horror kick.
Successful, because it does, it's got a very, I have no mouth and I must scream.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, so
you're trapped, right? You're in some sort of like eldritch thing, doing some sort of ritual that is aiding the power of it.
Yeah.
And I suppose the broader story would be, how do we get people out of that? What is happening around that? Like what is it feeding? Like that sort of broad scope stuff, right?
I was hoping we could do like a Good Burger thing.
We could do a Good Burger thing. There's another eldritch horror machine across the road. And
that's pretty good, actually. I was thinking instead that we set up the conceit that you've set up, but then we unjustifiably focus on the fast food narrative.
The juice place.
And like the success of the juice place.
Simulated juice place.
And then every few scenes.
And then every now and then it breaks.
Yeah, they wake up for a second and they're in that body horror thing and they're like, ignore it. Just have to ignore it and go back to the juice world. Well, I've been truly juiced to my core with this one. I like the idea of the bit I think that rattles me the most is the idea of the big blender leading immediately back into you. What's going on here?
Right? The juice they're producing is feeding this effect
it's like a self-perpetuating cycle of
juicing. They feed the juice, and as soon as they stop the juice, it breaks.
That's great. Yeah, you got a succulent and juicy submission. Please, Mitch, present your meat and potatoes.
Okay. Everyone thinks you're using. Scratch that. Everyone knows you're using, but every single test, no matter how stringent, comes back negative because the juice you are on is nothing so plain as a performance-enhancing drug. The juice you're on doesn't show up in a urine test or a blood test, and so far, no sports federation has the rights to subject you to the kind of test that would show something. No anti-doping agency has the balls to ask a judge to order an exorcism or witch trial, not in this day or age. No, the juice isn't in your bloodstream or your kidneys. It's in your soul. A darker power you signed up for, behind your old gym. A power that haunts your every waking moment. It compels you to lift heavier, to run faster. A power that craves strength and glory and has no qualms about pushing your body beyond human limits. a power that can only be sated by one thing, to achieve glory in the competition that created it centuries ago. You call it the juice because to call it by its rightful name sounds silly, but in those dark moments between qualifiers and drug tests, you can acknowledge the truth. Inhibiting you, driving you, controlling you, and commanding you, the juice is the Olympic spirit. And sacre bleu, Paris is calling.
Okay. The juice is the Olympic spirit. Okay, this is like fucking Hercules. This is like
They're off to Paris to win.
Off to Paris to win the Olympics.
All of them.
To free this this demonic possession that is the spirit empowered by the original.
okay. So
Olympic
if you
Games.
win gold, do you have to win gold in every event?
Look, there's a lot to discuss.
You have to win every available gold in order to free yourself from the Olympic spirit.
To free yourself from the Olympic spirit, yeah, you have to win all potential gold medals and not get disqualified.
I do think a lot of them happen at the same time.
I was going to say that logistically, it might be hard.
Yeah.
You might need to, you know how when you go to a festival, you've got to kind of map out an itinerary.
Your path.
Yeah. You need to win the most gold medals.
I mean, that's easier, right? For like your own sovereign nation, and so
Exactly.
you need to win the Olympic
you have
medal
to have
tally.
the highest gold medal tally for your nation, which is just you. I very much like the idea of you get strong or yoked or super Olympic by making a deal with the Olympic spirit behind your high school gym. Yeah, like that.
We all know, right? Behind each of our high school gyms, there is the embodiment of the Olympic spirit there.
Well, there's just some person in a trench coat who can hook you up with a few different things, and perhaps one of those.
He kept saying it was the Olympic spirit, but it had some kind of chemical-y name on the bottle.
He imbues you with the Olympic spirit, and he gives you 4 years worth of clean piss, and that's it.
He's like, remember, the Olympic spirit lives in you, and also the clean piss is
Pretty important.
freezer.
The clean piss.
Okay, they're somewhat incongruent. Conditions.
Somewhat.
Maybe you're interfacing with the scary meat mill, so you're doing Olympic stuff when you go back in. Then it's kind of I've blended them seamlessly together.
Sort of like you've done your job, huh? Just dust your hands off. Nailed it. Okay. Let's do the Olympic one. It's we're on brand, right? For that they're about to happen.
Hashtag sacre bleu.
Okay, so we're doing the Olympics. Yeah. You've been given a deal with not the devil, but instead, in this case, the Olympic spirit, which I guess would probably turn out to be a devil. No?
Yeah.
It's going to break your body to win the Olympics.
I think the warlock pact to win the Olympics is some cool flavor, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the choice that you've made, but
for sure.
I mean, you're not a person with the body capable of winning the Olympics, and so what the juice pushes you to do is probably going to be destructive to some point. It's a double-edged sword.
Right. Okay. Jelly bones.
Jelly bones. Whatever that delicious jelly bone milkshake was in Harry Potter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a milkshake, wasn't it?
Definitely a milkshake.
Came out of a McFlurry machine.
I think we can all agree about it's jelly bone milkshake.
Jelly bone milkshake, that's right. I remember that.
I like that. I like the idea that whatever this thing is, it's pushing you to succeed, but of course at the risk of destroying your own body. Let's say you are competing to get the most gold medals in the Olympics. Let's try and get that contrivance to work momentarily, because that's a pretty tough one as well in of itself. That they would.
I think if we're doing that, then the theme of it,
Yeah.
broad scope, right, is going to be pretty silly.
What if okay, let me spin a tale for you. What if we live in a beautiful world? It's a beautiful world out there already, but what if it's a
new and different,
beautiful,
yeah.
more beautiful world?
Yeah,
I'm looking out the window, I'm seeing a more beautiful and more different world, and in that more beautiful and more different world, we have an Olympics where steroids are not only not banned, but they're encouraged.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do with this cool stuff.
Like,
right?
How much more entertaining is it when everyone's performances are enhanced?
and maybe you are part of a team that's looking to develop the best juice,
and so you make a deal
with the devil
with the
to
devil,
get ultra yoked.
Yeah,
and you get demon juice, and then it's a cast of competitors where it's already super silly. You're able to compete in this slightly altered future, which is beautiful. I think I mentioned.
Yeah.
And finally, the Olympics, they'll be worth watching.
Finally, people are going to tune in to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Get some numbers up. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
How much do you think the steroids will affect the diving?
I think generally with most sports, they do rely on a certain degree of either finesse or development of muscles. I think even with diving, we look at it, right, and we think in our heads, hey, I can do
classically,
that.
Yeah, that's what
we can't. Hey. And that's where the steroids would help, is from allowing you to develop the muscles to do the thing.
Pretty falling.
It's just falling. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand what they're all clapping
that's
about.
What we might find is that taking steroids probably would make you better at diving.
Okay, and in this alternative reality, let's imagine that you're someone who wants to stay natty and you don't want to use those steroids, so instead you make a deal with Satan. Right?
You find an ethical loophole within your own contrived system of morality, which involves selling your soul so that you can win the Olympics.
Yeah, you want to show them how good the Olympics could be if everyone's clean.
You can win it clean, man. You can win it clean.
Let's do it pure.
I'm win 20 gold medals. I'm going to do it natty.
Okay, I think
just for the love of the game.
I think that by itself is an interesting idea, right? In this world, someone decides to do it natty, and maybe we could tell a really heartfelt tale about someone trying really hard and training, but it has nothing to do with the juice, and so it does need to. I think instead,
well, it could they could try really hard and fail repeatedly, and then turn to the juice,
to the devil's juice.
Yeah,
they're right at the top. They're that's the answer, because they're I don't want to ruin my body.
Yeah. In a less beautiful world where performance-enhancing drugs weren't allowed, they would be cleaning up.
Yeah.
But in this very beautiful world, as you said, Connor, they can't compete, even though they're peak.
I gotta say, this whole I want to do it natty thing, and so I'll make a deal with the devil is pretty depressing for me. It's pretty.
Wait.
It seems like we're I don't know, selling failure.
Okay, if that's depressing for you, pitch me something else. Give me a hot ball. Let's go. What do you got?
What we had before, right? That it is all balls to the wall, go crazy with it, and they're trying to find the best version of it.
The hottest juice.
They make a warlock.
Cool. Yep.
And
the juiciest juice.
Just the natty element is no fun for you.
The natty element, because I don't know how you come around on that, right? If it's going to be, yes, we want this person to win all the medals. I guess it could be they do it and then they get to the last one and they win the last one natty. But even then, all the other one's not natty. So what are you doing?
It's a story about how Satan rules.
Okay, well, no, actually, what I just said, right? That's interesting. Maybe is they get to the last event and they lose
biologically
the power,
natty.
And then they win that event.
They have to do it natty. I don't know. I don't like this character, and I don't want them to win. Like you said,
I don't really either. To be honest,
watch them do 19 with the help of Satan. Okay, how about this? Right, in this beautiful alternative world that's extremely beautiful, at the at the end of the if you win the Olympics, you get to fight Mr. Olympics and kill him, and then you can end the Olympics. And then it's worth it.
Or maybe since they don't have drug testing in this world, they do have like demonic possession testing, and you've got to avoid them. Or there's the tension of your body getting dismantled.
Right. You're slowly degrading because of all the great flips and jumps you've done in the pool. Yeah.
I mean, there's something here. I feel like we're close to something.
Yeah.
What if it's, flip it on its head? It's
for sure.
Satan wants to win the Olympics for hell.
Satan wants to win the Olympics. I don't want it to be Satan. I want it to be Hades.
That's always fun.
Or like a different evil god. Or
I mean, a Greek god works. It's like Hades was never invited to the Olympics back then. So.
Yeah.
Straight out of Tartarus, it's your boy Hades.
Yeah.
He's here and he's ready because he wants Tartarus to win the Olympics. And he's sick of watching from down there,
Zeus,
no glory.
Zeus's guy run away with it. That's it. It's not a modern day setting. This is set in
ancient
mythological Greece.
Sure. Yeah.
Zeus's guy is always running away with the Olympics. The drugs that they use are like cocoa leaves that the athletes can chew beforehand, and the blessings of the gods.
Yeah.
But you can also do like how you might have a sports movie where the main character is using steroids and then toward the end, like Jack was saying, decides to stop using the steroids and like lose on their own ability or try on their own ability, at least at the very end. You can do that, except the juice is like his pact with Hades or whatever, right? And then make it like a bit more fun. So instead of steroids being just make you big muscle, lift a weight, maybe it makes you shoot a, fire in shadow, something.
Fireball.
Hair on fire.
Maybe a side salad would help.
I think it might be time for us to saunter on down to a side salad. What do you got for us?
Let's do it. Let's head on over to the side salad station where my mom Claire, she who knows only too well that a couple of growing boys can't subsist on a fortnightly diet of expired food scraps, protein, and carbs, has pulled together a medley of Mother Nature's most mouth-watering mini prompts. We're going to spin this here big wheel, and whatever we get, we'll add to our meal. Here we go. There's a storm a-brewing.
Okay.
Pretty light on the salad this time, but we can work with that. Zeus is a storm guy.
Zeus is a storm guy. Hades thing, like maybe it's like some sort of apocalyptic storm, right? And that's what Hades wants to come to pass, is like he wants to, like, whoever
wins the Olympics gets to choose what happens.
Yeah. Whoever's like sort of representative person of the god who wins the Olympics, that god gets to
be on top of Mount Olympus, all right? And then Zeus has been winning.
Yeah, make some sort of event happen, and Hades wants to get up there and do that so that he can create some sort of apocalyptic storm and kill a bunch of people and send them to Tartarus. Right? And so that's the like point that you want to do this because you're like really invested in it. And so you agree to it, and then over the course of the story, you learn this, realize what's happening, and at the end, you pull out,
break the deal.
You break the deal, and you win it on your own merit,
or lose it on your own. But at least Hades then doesn't.
What if
win.
It's like? It's odd to me because like the minute that you'd learn that, you'd probably be like, oh fuck it, like what's this character's incentive to win?
Well. Glory?
Their own sort of personal like wants and desires, right? They want to win from the start, and that's why they've made this pact.
All right, you're a hellish Tartarian here to mess up the Olympics. You're swinging in with your needle full of Hades juice.
Yeah.
You've pleaded to Hades to help you succeed in the Olympics, and Hades himself is all the more pleased, for if Hades has an agent finally win the Olympics, then he'll be able to sit upon Mount Olympus and call upon a post-apocalyptic storm that will kill a good number of patriotic Grecians.
I think it's just an apocalyptic.
Nope,
Just an apocalyptic.
there's gonna be an apocalypse, and then after the
post-apocalypse would
apocalypse,
happen
there's going to be a storm. Essentially, the same kind of like steroid biopic you'd get of a sports event, but there's a lot more like, marble. And
Do you like that about it?
I don't know how we're going to do the syringes.
A lot of porticos.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. This is good. Okay, so
Phil is there from Hercules.
I love Phil. He's my boy, and I'd love to see Danny DeVito involved in our content. Our through line here. Let's just try to paint a bit of a strong plot here. So we start.
Are you in Hades and you're trying to get out, and that's like
that's good.
That's your thing?
I don't know. I like the idea of being like you've been sent by Hades from Tartarus, and it's your chance to escape the underworld, and at the end you have to make the decision to escape or not.
You realize that even if you escape, you're going to go straight back there because you're going to die in this big storm, right?
And you're like, cool great-grandkids will die or whatever that you meet.
Those two, yeah.
I kind of feel like I like it with you. It's a bit more that you have the agency, that you've chosen to go down to Tartarus to make this deal with Hades because it's the only way you're going to be able to compete in the Olympics.
Pretty epic.
Like you chased that out, and then turning it down at the end, I think, has more weight rather than Hades sort of sending you up from the beginning.
You don't think there's weight to you accepting eternal damnation to save the rest of the world?
I do think there's weight. I just think there's more weight.
You think there's more weight
you make the decision to seek it out
decides to not win the thing that they want?
You can still try and win. I'm just saying that I think that you seeking out Hades to make the deal rather than it being thrust upon you gives you more agency, and that adds weight.
I'm not saying that it's thrust upon you.
Okay,
but what if you were an athlete in ancient Greece,
sure,
right? And you cheated, right? And then you died,
maybe executed for cheating.
Executed for cheating,
Love it.
And so, like, you get down there and you're like, okay, well, the way I'm going to get out of this, is by doing this thing with Hades.
Yeah, and he's like, yes, the cheater, perfect. You will cheat for me.
Exactly.
And then it's like,
finds
turns out
nobility
cheating's
at the end.
bad.
Yeah, cheating's bad, kids.
It's good. This is a good lesson. We can teach everyone that cheating's bad together.
Juice.
Okay, so that's kind of the start of our story, is petitioning Hades, and then we would go up. I guess there'd be a montage where we win 14 gold medals.
Well, I mean, original Olympics, they were only like I think the first Olympics, they just had 100-meter or whatever the measurement was dash. Like there were.
I thought they always wrestled.
There were.
I feel like wrestling. Let's go with one of the first ones with wrestling.
But I don't think you need to win.
Yeah, And I think
soccer.
that it shouldn't just be that you
field hockey,
skateboarding.
Yeah, wasn't breakdancing just put in?
Yeah. And we get some of those in there. Maybe we establish the fact that breakdancing is always
This is a return to the form, really. The ancient Greeks loved skateboarding and breakdancing.
The dude walks out in his toga and like rolls it up to his knees and then puts some cardboard down.
I think there's scope to establish some competitors, right? And maybe you have history with some of those people because you are an athlete yourself. Like maybe it's like, you always finish second behind this one person who is like Zeus's pick, right? And they're the favorite. Yeah. And so it's about you, like, maybe we can be kind of underhanded throughout some of this stuff. It's like you manipulating events so you can win.
Hades is helping you, like whispering in your ear, telling you to do malevolent stuff to innocent competitors. I will say, with the guy that you continue to come second to or have throughout your career, you can keep it under wraps that that's Zeus's guy at first. And then as you're learning, you can be like, oh, he's fucking cheating too for Zeus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And then you have the opportunity to, like, at the end, challenge him without the gods, and maybe both of the competitors like throw down the gauntlet, and you've got this like really epic final
sort of wrestling match without any of the powers of the gods.
Yeah, fuck it, it's wrestling, right? And then one of them's wrestled to death.
Just straight
Straight back to Tartarus.
I think the resolution of this is missing something for me.
Okay.
There's like a gap in terms of like what your motivation is at the end and like how that manifests. I suppose you find out about this storm that Hades is brewing up, but what's the sequence of events for you to be like what do you do?
I think it has to be that like there's a kid that reminds you about the spirit of competition.
Maybe not even a kid, but like a younger competitor. You're doing some underhanded shit to this person beforehand, but they're like very sporting and honorable.
Yeah, they take it on the chin and they're like, that's what it's all about, like exploring the human condition and seeing what we can drive each other to do. And that kind of attitude from the competitors that you're maybe a bunch of them have that attitude, and you continue to hurt people because that's what you've been driven to do. And then at the very end, there is, I don't know, a kid, or you look over and they're like cheering for you or whatever. And you're like, you know what? I am going to do it this time. I'm going to do it for real. And you challenge the other person to do it for real as well, just to see if you've got the guts.
Yeah. Okay. So you challenge them and you say,
I know you have Zeus's aid.
Yeah.
Forgo him. Challenge me in a true wrestling match.
And maybe you like challenge the other gods to give the winner a boon, the sort of thing where you're both tied. It needs to be some way in which Hades doesn't like win from this within the rules that we've set up, right?
Oh, just that you lose, right?
You just lose.
But it's a really good match.
You just go back to...
And it's really close and they win. And they're like, I can't believe I won. But maybe then you go to Elysium, right? Because you're like a hero now. Like you did something heroic and noble. So like you did change your station in life. You didn't get to come back, but you stopped Hades from unleashing this storm and you moved yourself to Elysium. It seems like a good trade.
Maybe what we need is to find a third party outside of the gods that we've already discussed who would be able to affect your outcome in a positive way.
Like the Fates or something?
The Fates is cool. Zeus does not like you because you've been proving that he's been cheating as well. And Hades doesn't like you because you haven't done the thing that you've done.
The Fates is good. Let's go with the Fates. The Fates like intervene like at the end when both Zeus and Hades are about to kill you both. And they're like, no, these guys truly are spirit of the Olympics.
That's
2024, Parry. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got a tale told of a deceased Olympic athlete who travels through the fields of Asphodel, beseeches Hades by traveling through Tartarus, arriving at the gates and saying, give me one more shot at the gold. Hades, seeing this as an opportunity to win the Olympics, which would put him in a position of having access to Mount Olympus and unleashing an apocalyptic storm, is very excited to have a competitor for the Olympics. Zeus has his own competitor that is unnaturally benefiting, and throughout the competitions, you are besting fine athletes that are watching you smoke them after years of training, and their combined spirit, Olympic spirit, inspires you to challenge this Zeus compatriot at the very end to a true contest of just grunting, kind of sandy, oily wrestling.
Wrestling match.
Right? And everybody's cheering you, and you forsake Hades, and he forsakes Zeus, and Zeus and Hades, in whatever fashion they've been interacting in the story, either as voices in heads or as literal people in the audience, are angry and upset that
I can imagine how that affects the setting of this final fight. Like it's like fiery and thunderstormy around you
like
and
it's
stuff.
like there's some kind of like epicness to it. Then finally, after rolling around in the dirt for 45 straight minutes,
you tap out.
you pass out or whatever, and the other guy wins. And it's like, whoa, wow, like that was the best Olympic match that anyone's ever seen.
What if it's that you draw?
Okay, cool, sure.
Right, you draw so that Zeus also doesn't win.
And they're both like,
this is the
what
last
do we do?
Thing. It's a draw. Yeah.
And the Fates are like, everybody wins.
Or just this guy specifically.
Our guy wins. Yeah. Zeus, you're a real D-bag.
No one likes you.
It seems true to form for Greek mythology.
Why would you like Zeus? He seems like a maniac. All right, cool. Well, we've got our through thread. What part of this tale would you like to use for the plate-up?
The way that you were describing that wrestling match, Connor,
wrestling match, right?
just seems...
It's gotta be the wrestling match, I think.
Maybe it's the moment where you decide to really wrestle. Right? You don't do the climax of the wrestling match, but like we end with, and the wrestling begins. You know? Like we go for that moment where you forsake everything and you have the emotional, the climax.
Gods are angry around you.
That.
Applying olive oil along your forearms.
Yes.
I haven't seen the Olympics in a while.
I'm pretty sure they come out to music and they're all olive oiled up.
Yeah.
All right, well,
that's good.
My God, is that the plate-ups music? Let's head on.
My God, is that plate-up music?
It's the plate-up with the chair.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, our friends between and beyond, to the final contest of this primetime entertainment event, the Olympics Fall! This forthcoming final clash here at the crescendo of the 4th Olympics will truly be a captivating showdown of strength, skill, and divine blessing. Before us, folks, stand two competitors of unrivaled talent. In an Olympic first, between them, they've secured every single gold medal. It all comes down to this: a wrestling match to rattle the very foundation of our mortal realm. This contest is scheduled for one fall! Introducing first in the eastern corner, he is the chosen of mighty Zeus the Thunderer, the king of gods and lord of Olympus. This Olympic competitor is weighing in at 24,000 drachma. Hailing from Helios, the Pergamon prince himself, make some noise for the hero of Zeus, Stunning Stevos! And his opponent, in the western corner, representing fearsome Hades, lord of the underworld, keeper of souls and warden of the damned, that ruler of dark mystery and master of shadows. Rising forth from the Stygian depths, shrouded in intrigue, weighing in at 21,500 drachma, the reaper of dreams, the agent of Tartarus. Give it up for the unnamed Olympian! To remind all involved of the stakes, the winner will determine the fury of the gods. Will Stevos win and set Zeus's fury upon the wailing souls of the underworld? Or will the unnamed Olympian win, setting untold waves of horror loose here in our waking world? Only the conclusion to this thrilling contest of skill will give us the answer. Let's get ready to Olympics!
As you sit on the bench in your changing room, head in your hands, half listening to the announcer amping up the crowd outside, 1,000 thoughts race through your mind. You've finally made it here, a scant 45-minute wrestling match away from what you've been searching for your entire life. Eternal Olympic glory, and a big old gold medal to boot. But the revelations bestowed upon the crowd by the fates have caught you in a contradiction. Win, and Hades will unleash a mighty storm upon the mortal world, dooming your friends, your family, everyone you know, to damnation. Lose, and it's back to the underworld, and an eternity spent on Tartarus's torture racks. Really, there's only one choice. You stand, filled with sudden purpose, and charge out of your changing room and into the arena.
For the unnamed Olympian!
Across from you stands your nemesis Stevos, a smug grin writ large across his face. The human form of Zeus sat behind him, fingertips steepled together. His face, a picture of rapt attention. You sense a cold presence at your side and feel the icy touch of Hades' hand on your shoulder.
You are close now, my champion. Win, and I will grant you what you seek. Hold up your end of the bargain.
You shrug off his clammy fist, shooting in the glare of purest loathing, drinking in his surprised, furious expression. You yank the amulet that hangs around your neck, a representation of your partnership with the Lord of the Dead, and cast it down at your feet before wheeling back towards the crowd, arms aloft. I cast off the boon of Hades! I forsake the god of the underworld, that chthonic cad that stands to my right! I fight for mortals, for humanity, for all of Greece!
Your heart no longer beats. You cannot draw breath. Darkness tugs at your soul as the juice of Hades' blessing weeps from your eyes and sweats from your pores. Your feet begin to sink into quicksand, the ground beginning to swallow you. Hades laughs, riotous and deep, a jarring sound against the fabric of the world. You spat in his face, and his punishment is swift, swifter than you'd hoped. We deserve a chance to fight! You roar at the sky, unburdened by the gods, as humans, a true test of honor! Hades' face appears in the roiling clouds above now, his lips pursed in a rictus grin. No! His voice crackles like a brush fire. You feel the soft ground grip you like a clawed fist and drag you down before everything goes still. Yes. A whisper in the wind. The ground trembles as a mightier power forces it to release you. A chance to fight. A second voice, closer, older. To compete with honor. The third voice is the oldest of them all. To prove yourselves. You gasp for air, shaking. Across from you, Steva stares up at a bolt of jagged lightning, frozen mid-cast. Between you, the three fates wrest control of the raging storm and forge from it an arena. We shall adjudicate. Shall it be fists? The youngest asks. Or would you like to try something different? The middleist asks, a wry look in her ageless eyes. The eldest fate draws a short wooden board from beyond, black-topped and wheeled underneath with slightly tilted ends. In almost 3,000 years, this baby's going to be all the rage. She spins it with one hand before stepping nimbly onto the board. You squint as she uses some sort of foot-based magic to make the board jump and twist under her. Fists.
Historic episode. Lots of true history covered about the story of Olympics 4, which I'm sure is what they called it too. Yeah. Well, thank you, listener, for joining us here in the Hook Cook Kitchen. If you have a prompt that you would like to shoot through to us, something like the juice sent to us from the Grill Warlock, thank you again, Grill Warlock. You can shoot that straight through to cooksofhooks@gmail.com, or you can use @hook_cooks for the socials.
Yes, that's right. If you enjoyed this juicy production, please feel free to proclaim it loudly from the rooftops, or if you'd prefer, perhaps a like, subscribe, rating, a review. I know which one your neighbors would prefer.
Thank you to Holizna, who we, of course, thank for our opening theme, Sailing Away. And as we always do, it is time to thank you, Jack's mum.
Yes. Thank you, Jack's mom.
I've been Connor, your louder critter.
My name is Dishpot, and tonight I played the role of Jack.
And I am Mitch, the Monster Chef. Thank you so much for listening. Are we happy, boys?
Yes.
Oh, we, chef.
And I'm Connor, your larder quitter. God damn it.
You're a larder quitter.
I'm a quitter.
And
I'm out.
I tossed up how to tell you guys. That seemed like the best way.
But I'd fumble.
We would start a podcast
Yeah.
and then finish it.